Have you heard of silly string as a wall treatment? Neither had I, but it was a quick sand to get rid of, and then this room sat gold for a couple years till I was ready to transform it. I had to remove the crown, which was a little controversial and didn't go all that well. But after I patched everything up, I was ready to build my frame and bring my vision to life. I had never built a wall before, but I wanted an arch, and I figured it was safer to build a wall than it would be to try and cut one out of the existing load-bearing wall. I like to add some function into my design whenever I can, so I decided to make a cabinet built into the wall. The wall is only 6 inches deep because I didn't want to lose a lot of square footage, but that was the minimum I needed to fit a wine bottle. I know this isn't the prettiest wall frame you've ever seen, but I just kind of did it like a puzzle, one piece at a time, until I had all the components I needed. I had to be sure that I thought of everything before covering up the frame with drywall, the cabinet being the most complex part because I knew I wanted sliding doors and that they would need to slide into my frame. I routed grooves for these doors so I am able to remove them even after the drywall is up. The drywall might have been the most frustrating part of this project for me because I'm a perfectionist and there is nothing perfect about drywall, especially when you're working with an arch. I had to keep telling myself to trust the process and remind myself that it usually looks worse before it gets better. For this, I thought you only needed one layer of joint compound, but that is not true. You need multiple layers and sanding in between. The wall treatment I'm planning on using is Roman clay, which I thought would hide any sort of imperfections. That was also not true. I needed a smooth surface. When I was done mudding, I primed the walls, added a little floating shelf, and then got to the Roman clay part. I used the color gem from Portola Paints. You do a light sanding in between layers and you decide how many layers to do based on the look you want. I had planned on doing 2 layers and I probably would have had more differentiation if I had stuck with that, but I ended up going for a 3rd. So even though there's not a ton of highs and lows with what I went with, I still love the look of it and it still adds dimension and makes you want to touch the walls. At this point, the wall is pretty much done. I just needed some finishing touches. I hated the look of that return air vent, so I made a little frame and used half round dowels to create a grate to go over it. I had to redo the baseboards and find as close of a match to what was existing as possible. I painted the air vent cover white and then attached it with magnets so it could come out if needed. I added really pretty hardware to the cabinet below, and then I added wine storage above using acrylic pegs. I still need to add more of these. I really love the look. This has to be the most complex project I've done to date. So many firsts in here. I learned a ton and I'm so happy with how it turned out. I had never seen silly string on a wall before, but apparently that used to be a thing along with the gold. It's so much fun to look at the before and after. It's hard to believe that it is the same room.